From BBC Learning English. This is Learning English from the News, our podcast about the news headlines.
In this programme, Facebook and Instagram's owner Meta is on trial again.
Hello, I'm Becca.
And I'm Phil.
In this programme, we look at one big news story and the vocabulary in the headlines that will help you understand it.
You can find all the vocabulary and headlines from this episode, as well as a worksheet, on our website. That's bbclearningenglish.com.
So, let's hear more about this story. Meta, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, has gone on trial in the US, accused of breaking state and federal laws around child privacy.
The lawsuit has been filed by 29 US states, representing more than two-thirds of the country's population. In this trial, 4 of these states, California, Kentucky, Colorado, and New Jersey, are making their argument.
They claim that Meta designed Facebook and Instagram to be addictive to children and teens, and have misled users about the dangers.
This is the largest of a number of lawsuits against Meta relating to child safety. The company had previously been ordered to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars.
Meta denies the allegations, saying that it removes child accounts and that it is taking steps to improve teenagers' well-being on their platform.
The trial is expected to last around 6 weeks.
Let's have our first headline. This headline is from The Guardian, a British newspaper. US states take on Meta in pivotal trial over child social media addiction claims.
That headline again, from The Guardian, a British newspaper. US states take on Meta in pivotal trial over child social media addiction claims.
The headline is from an article that talks about this lawsuit and also mentions other court cases that Meta has faced recently. The word that we're interested in here is pivotal. Let's look at it in more detail, Phil.
Something that's pivotal is the centre of everything. It's very important and other things depend on it.
Yes, pivotal comes from the noun pivot, which is a point that everything else turns around.
Here, it's saying that this particular lawsuit is especially significant and could determine things in the future. It's pivotal.
Let's talk about some other ways that we can use pivotal. A pivotal figure is the most important person. They might play a pivotal role in making something happen.
A pivotal issue is a very important one that can have a big impact.
We've had pivotal, very significant because other things depend on it.
For example, the designer played a pivotal role in the company's success.
This is Learning English from the News, our podcast about the news headlines. Today, we're talking about the latest lawsuit being faced by Instagram and Facebook's owner, Meta.
The potential damages that Meta may have to pay should they lose this case have been estimated at $200 billion. Damages are the money that you have to pay the other side if you lose a court case.
The court could also force the company to make changes to its products. The states behind the lawsuit have asked for the removal of many image filters and autoplaying of videos, and for the introduction of parental verification, among other measures.
This leads us to our next headline, and this is from CNBC, an American business news organization. Meta faces astronomical consequences as legal fight reaches critical moment in California.
And that headline again from CNBC. Meta faces astronomical consequences as legal fight reaches critical moment in California.
Let's find out what astronomical means here.
We can use astronomical to say that something is related to the study of space and the universe, but that's not what's happening here.
No, we can also use astronomical metaphorically with numbers. You know how space is really big? Well, an astronomical number is a really big number.
We just mentioned the $200 billion in damages. That is an astronomical amount of money.
When the headline says that Meta could be facing astronomical consequences, it's talking about how large and severe these consequences could be.
We often use astronomical together with money and quantity words. An astronomical figure, an astronomical amount, and an astronomical sum.
We've had astronomical, very large.
For example, to buy a mansion like that must cost an astronomical amount of money.
This is Learning English from the News from BBC Learning English. We're talking about the latest lawsuit to be faced by Meta.
Much of the focus of this story is about the potential harm to teens. The state's case says that Meta knew how Instagram could take advantage of teenagers' brains.
Meta denies this and presented a study showing many teenagers feel better about themselves after using Instagram.
Here's our next headline. This headline is from The Washington Post, an American newspaper. Zuckerberg faces potential reckoning in court over Instagram's effects on teens.
And that headline again from The Washington Post, an American newspaper. Zuckerberg faces potential reckoning in court over Instagram's effects on teens.
The word that we're interested in here is reckoning.
Reckoning has a few related meanings. It can be a calculation or an estimate.
A reckoning can also be a judgment, and that is the sense that is being used here.
When the headline says that Zuckerberg is facing a potential reckoning, it means that he's facing a judgment and potential consequences.
Reckoning is quite an old-fashioned word that we don't use in everyday speech in this context. There are expressions like day of reckoning or the final reckoning, but we'd usually see these written in books.
What's more common is the verb reckon, which means estimate or think.
We've had reckoning, a judgment and its related consequences.
For example, the politician will face his reckoning on election day.
That's it for this episode of Learning English from the News. We'll be back next week with another news story.
If you've enjoyed this programme, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter to find out about all the different programmes that we have, and you can find the link to sign up for it in the notes below this programme.
That's it for now. Bye.
Bye.